Is the US ready for electric vehicles? FreeAdvice.com. Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we'll talk about a topic that has been gaining a lot of attention in recent years: electric vehicles. Are you now ready to rev up your engines and go on a journey to discover the truth about electric vehicles in the United States? Buckle up, because today, we're going on a road trip to find out if the US is ready for the electric vehicle revolution. We'll be exploring the charging infrastructure, consumer demand, impact on the environment, the economy, and government policies that are shaping the future of our transportation. So whether you're a skeptic or an early adopter, this video is for you. Let's hit the gas and find out the answer. Actually, Americans are already feeling electric about the next generation of cars. Why? People are more prepared than ever to consider fully electric or hybrid automobiles, driven by the rising expense of gas, its effect on the environment, and a need to advocate for a move toward cleaner transportation.
But the question is the US as a country ready for electric vehicles?
It depends on how we define ready. While there has been progress in recent years, there are still challenges to the widespread adoption of electric vehicles, also called EVs, in the United States. Let's go over those challenges and what's causing them. The first issue is the charging infrastructure. The United States has the power generation capacity to charge EVs. It is actually more than enough to charge the current number of electric cars, and estimations show it will be enough for the future too. However, the current infrastructure for charging vehicles might not be adequate to support the widespread use of EVs. In many places, especially rural ones, there have been issues with charging station accessibility and availability. Infrastructure for charging is still relatively limited. This makes it difficult for some consumers to own and operate EVs, as they may not have access to charging stations near their homes or workplaces. Additionally, the lack of standardization among charging stations can make it difficult for EV owners to find compatible charging equipment. The US government and private sector are working on expanding the charging infrastructure and making it more accessible for consumers, but it's a work in progress and more needs to be done to make it more widely available across the country. The second challenge the US faces is consumer demand. Consumer demand is a big part of what defines the country's readiness. The consumer demand for electric vehicles in the United States has been increasing, but it still represents a small percentage of total vehicle sales. According to recent data, EV sales in the US have been growing steadily, but still only account for about 5.6% of total vehicle sales in Q2 of 2022. Consumer demand has been picking up, but is still not at the level where it will likely be in the near future. Several factors are contributing to the level of consumer demand for EVs in the US. Here are some reasons demand for electric vehicles isn't as high as it could be. First of all, the cost of EVs is still relatively high. Car buyers are listing cost of EVs as their top reason not to buy one. This has been the most significant purchase barrier for car buyers when comparing the price of EVs versus gas-powered vehicles. The second blocker for consumers is the lack of charging infrastructure in their area. Not having charging stations nearby makes it impossible for many drivers to own and operate electric vehicles. The third factor is the limited range and long charging times for various EV models. And the last thing that decreases demand is low awareness and understanding of EVs among some consumers. Due to these factors, consumer demand isn't nearly as high as it could be. Our nation has a ways to go in preparation for a potential EV demand increase in the near future. The third challenge is the environmental and economic impact EVs will have on the US. The impact EVs have on the environment and economy plays a significant role in shaping the country's readiness for this type of vehicle. Electric vehicles produce significantly fewer tailpipe emissions than traditional gas-powered vehicles, which can greatly reduce air pollution and improve quality. By using electricity to power vehicles instead of gasoline or diesel, EVs can help to reduce dependence on fossil fuels and decrease greenhouse gas emissions. With that, the country will increase domestic electricity use to power vehicles, which can boost the US economy by reducing trade deficits and creating new opportunities for domestic energy production. In addition, the manufacturing and maintenance of EVs and associated charging infrastructure can create new jobs in the automotive and energy sectors. An increase in jobs will lead to economic growth. And more eco-friendly vehicles on the roads will improve the air quality and decrease greenhouse gas emissions. Plus, as the price of electricity is generally less expensive than gasoline or diesel, operating an EV could result in cost savings for consumers over the years, which could lead to increased consumer spending in other areas of the US economy. Overall, EVs appear to be a major win for both the economy and the environment in America. But there are negatives to the manufacturing of EVs that can affect our economy and could be bad for the environment too. The production of EV batteries can be energy intensive and require the mining of raw materials, which can negatively impact the environment. The construction and maintenance of charging infrastructure can also cause habitat destruction and increase energy consumption. If the electricity used to charge EVs is generated from non-renewable sources like coal, it could lead to increased emissions. Overall, the impact of EVs on the environment and economy will depend on a variety of factors, including the rate of adoption, the availability of charging infrastructure, and government policies. To truly have a positive impact on all of these areas, it's important to ensure that the transition to EVs is done in a way that minimizes negative environmental impacts and maximizes the use of renewable energy. This will require a fair and consistent regulatory environment that can drive the growth of the industry. The last challenge the US faces that determines our EV readiness is our government policies. Some states in the US have implemented incentives to encourage the adoption of EVs, such as tax credits or rebates. But these policies are not consistent across the country. A lack of cohesive national policy makes it difficult for consumers to understand the full range of financial incentives available to them. Also, the country lacks a clear and consistent regulatory environment for EVs. There is uncertainty among businesses and consumers, which causes hesitation to make long-term investments in EVs and the necessary charging infrastructure. It is essential for the US government to create a supportive environment for the widespread adoption of EVs by providing consistent and meaningful incentives, regulations, and funding for research and development. Government policies and incentives play a role in promoting the adoption of EVs, but it is important to note that it is not only the government's responsibility. This responsibility also falls on the industry, private sectors, and consumers to prepare the country for these eco-friendly electric vehicles. One thing is for sure, Americans are on board to go green to help the environment they live in, and there is no arguing that electric is the way to go.
Do you drive an electric vehicle? Do you receive discounts from your insurance provider for going green? We can help you save money on your car insurance and get discounts you might be missing out on. Just visit FreeAdvice.com and you can easily compare the top insurance providers in your area.
While there is certainly still a lot of work to be done, it's clear that the future of transportation is electric, and the US is well on its way to being a leader in this field. With advancements in technology and increased government support, the future of electric vehicles in the US is looking bright. So what are your thoughts on this topic? Do you think the infrastructure is there to support the widespread adoption of electric vehicles? Are there any other concerns or challenges you see that need to be addressed? As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next one.